Hi everybody and welcome to the channel. I'm Martin from Everyday Bonsai, and today I'm going to talk about the 10 or my 10 most important bonsai tips for beginners. Just also wanted to say a big thanks to everybody that has already subscribed to the channel. And if you're new to the channel, welcome, and I hope you like the content. Please, if you like the content, give us a like and consider subscribing to the channel, because it helps us out a lot making more content like this. So bonsai is an ancient art form originating in China and Japan. The main goal is always to replicate nature as close as possible in a small form. All bonsai trees are regular trees that have just been pruned and shaped to stay small. They're made into all sorts of different sizes, ranging from tiny little 1 centimeter ones to a meter tall and beyond. Which brings me to tip number 1, keep your trees healthy. The number 1 goal in bonsai is always keep your tree healthy. The health of a tree always starts with a healthy root system. Trees need water, oxygen and nutrients to thrive. As bonsai trees are always in pots, we're trying to create conditions that are as close to perfect and as close to what they find in nature. But whereas in nature, the roots can freely spread and access nutrients, water and oxygen, in a small container, it's just a bit harder to achieve. Which brings me to tip number 2, do your research. As with anything new, it can be quite daunting. There's so much information out there, there's so much to learn, there's so much to take in, and you want to do the best you can for your tree. There's watering, designing, fertilizing, wiring, pruning, which tools to use, sun exposure, soil mixes, all sorts of different things. But at the same time, there's a wealth of information out there that can help you learn fast and get on the right path with your tree. There are amazing books about bonsai, there's good social media content out there, podcasts, videos, shows, but I think where you learn the most is really by joining a local bonsai club and talking to people, sharing information. People are usually willing to share and help out. And that is particularly good as you're learning from locals that live in a similar area, that have similar sun exposure, just have similar conditions as you have. So it's just more applicable. And they can also tell you where to get materials, for instance, where you get pots, where you get wire, where you get soil mixes. Which brings me to tip number 3. Use an inorganic soil mix.
Inorganic soil is mixed from various different inorganic materials like pumice, lava rock, perlite, akadama, which is a baked Japanese clay, gravel, etc. If you want to use organic components with it, fine pine bark is usually a good option. Organic components break down and decay a lot quicker, become dense and don't allow proper drainage, which can become harmful for the tree.
Inorganic mixtures allow for better drainage and oxygen circulation between the roots, which allows for better nutrient absorption. As long as you develop a bonsai in a large pot, it can usually stay in a regular potting mix. But as soon as the tree is moved into a small bonsai container, it is very important that proper drainage is provided. Which brings me to tip number 4. Start with easy species. Among easy species are privet, ficus, jade, and specific to where we are here in New Zealand, I would include the totara tree as well, which is a conifer, and also the pittosporum tree. They're usually species that are easy to purchase, quite hardy, don't mind getting a bit dry, and are also easy to shape and prune. And this varies quite a bit depending on where you live. Ficuses over the other species have the added benefit they can be kept indoors as well, whereas all the other species are strictly outdoor trees only. And in general, native trees are usually very good because they are inexpensive to purchase, available at any nursery, and also very used to the climate in which they are grown. Which brings me to tip number 5. Get more than one tree of the same species and try different things on trees, see how they respond, which techniques are the best, which techniques work at any given time. I have, for example, purchased a whole lot of trees of one species, of various species, and learned a whole lot through that by allowing myself to make mistakes. Tip number 6. Think how much time you can spend doing bonsai. As much as it is a very great and relaxing activity, it all takes time. So make sure to be able to dedicate enough time to the number of trees you've got. And be mindful that the time allocation changes quite a bit during the course of a year. Sometimes the tree is dormant and doesn't need a whole lot of attention, and sometimes it is growing and needs a whole lot of attention. Also make sure you have a backup plan for when you are away, especially the growing seasons and in summer when the trees need a whole lot of watering. Which brings me to tip number 7. Create a plan for developing your bonsai. It's always great to be prepared, and it's always a whole lot easier to have a plan. And that refers to where you want your tree to be in 1 year, in 3 years, in 5 or 10 years. One option is to develop the tree from seed, which obviously gives you a whole lot more options earlier in the stage to take control of the design of the tree. Or do you want to purchase a tree from a nursery, which is already bigger, established, a few years old, and then take the design from there? The other option is to grow a tree in the ground, which allows rapid development, and then you have to dig it up, put it in a pot, and develop it further. What I do quite often is develop trees in very large pots or growing bags, because the extra room allows the roots to develop much further and access more nutrients, more oxygen, more water. And that means the tree will grow faster. And when I am happy with the overall thickness of the trunk, with the branch placement, only then do I take it out of the bag and put it in the bonsai dish. Or do you want to purchase a tree from a bonsai nursery, which is already quite developed and has had a really good head start? So just knowing that makes choices at the beginning a lot easier. Last point in there, it's all about timing. Learn when to apply certain techniques and don't do everything at the same time. This allows you to evaluate certain techniques that you have applied to your tree and see if they've worked or if they haven't worked out, without stressing the tree too much. Tip number 8 is study trees. Go out there and absorb how trees grow in nature, their specific characters, how nature shapes them, and what influences their design. These are elements like sunlight, wind, humidity, snow, temperature, position, etc., etc. And all those learnings can be applied to the design of your bonsai. Tip number 9, intent. Make intentional choices about every task you do on your tree. Ask yourself, why am I watering the tree at this time of the day? Why am I using this fertilizer over another one? Why do I cut this branch off but leave another? Why do I use this tool over another to make this cut? And always have a goal in mind. And last but not least, the most important tip of all, have fun and enjoy the journey. A living tree is never a finished product, regardless how good it looks at any one time. You're constantly working on it, and it is such an enjoyable journey. You're always learning something new and it never gets boring. The more you learn, the more questions come up. So have fun and enjoy the journey. Please leave us any comments on what your top tips are. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next episode.